Hey guys, it's Mitchell, and in this Adobe Lightroom Classic CC tutorial, I'm going to show you how to darken your skies and make them look more blue. You're going to want to start in Adobe Lightroom. Now, I am doing this in Adobe Lightroom Classic, but something like this would also similarly work with Adobe Lightroom CC. So first, you're going to want to choose a file that has a strong histogram. And by strong histogram, you want to make sure you haven't clipped your highlights and you haven't clipped your blacks. As you can see, we have a really high contrast stay here. This is out in Ninh Binh, Vietnam. And I'll just go ahead and I'll show you what would happen if I go ahead and I crush my highlights. Now, if I go ahead and I crush my highlights here, you can see that we get a much darker, bluer sky, but it's not quite blue enough yet. So first, we're going to go ahead and crush the highlights a substantial amount. Let's go to 80. Next, you want to keep some of that information in your shadows. So go ahead, boost the shadows up to a point that looks natural. Next, you want to go ahead and look at your blacks. Find a black point. Now, if you hold down the Shift key, you can see where you begin to start clipping. That looks fine there. Whites, hold the Shift key, or I'm sorry, the Alt key. And there, we can see we don't have any clipping. But what if this is not blue enough, right? What if you want your skies to really pop and you don't want to go ahead and destroy the contrast throughout the whole image by bringing down the brights for everything? Well, what you're going to want to do is go up to the upper right-hand part and choose a graduated filter. Now, the amount that you go ahead and widen the graduated filter, the smoother of a transition it will be. Now, for this, we'll go ahead and choose something substantially wide. Now, if you hold over the black button portion of it, it will show you the effective area that this filter is affecting. And here we can see it's almost just perfectly at the lowest part of where the sky is in the frame. From this point, you're going to want to go ahead and crush the highlights even more. Now, as you notice, it's bringing more blue back into our skies. Okay, from there, you're going to want to click Enter and bring up the overall exposure a little bit more. You don't want to do it too much because things can start to look pretty fake and pretty phony. But right there we have a nice amount of contrast overall. It's not the greatest image, but it would definitely be something that you could sell potentially on Adobe stock. Keep the colors how they are. Now go over to the HSL or hue, saturation, and luminance portion. Turn your luminance of the blue channel and a bit of the turquoise channel down even more. Now we're starting to get some really, really pleasing looking skies. Turn the saturation of the blues up. And if you're feeling adventurous and you would like to go ahead and make some type of adjustment over here, you can go ahead and go to the camera calibration. Now, this can totally change the way your skies look if you're looking for something kind of trippy looking. But for this, we want to leave it somewhat natural, so we'll just go to -9. We'll turn the saturation up a little bit more. And what we're doing is we're just affecting the blue channels and how the Adobe is processing that raw file. We can go over here to our greens if you want a colder image, if you want a warmer image. I'm going to go ahead and turn up this image a little bit warmer. Bada bing. Now still, I want more emphasis placed on this temple. I think the temple really adds a lot of meaning and a lot of interesting parts to this. So real quick, we'll go ahead And I forgot where I saw this, but shout out to whatever YouTube channel did this a few years ago. But we'll take a circular filter and we can go ahead, invert that, and then almost give us a half sun type of look. And this is what we'll do. Range masking, color, or I'm sorry, luminance. Turn up. And guys, one of the things that you can do is you can really play around with the overall feathering and the look. If you want to go ahead and, in this case, what I would like to do is create a fake sun. So we'll actually change the color of the temperature of the light that's being introduced into this photo. We can stretch this out a little bit more. We'll go ahead and bring up the shadows a little bit higher, along with the overall exposure. And that's looking a little fake, so we'll go ahead. Let's bring the percentage of light coming in down over here on the exposure. Turn up the highlights a little bit more. And bam, I think this looks much better. We now have, I am not fully happy with it. I don't like how much of a difference we have in the overall feathering of it. It looks a little bit extreme. And what we can do is go out down into the rest of our image, change the white balance just a tad to go ahead and give us some more warmth. Turn on our split toning a little bit to give all of the highlights a little bit more yellow and orange. And where we went ahead to darken our skies, we can go ahead and add a little bit of yellow into that while still keeping some of that recovered nice blue tone. And overall, for an image I shot with the kit lens, I am pretty happy with the separation that we have on this temple against the mountains. And I think this would go really, really nice for just a snapshot that I took while on vacation. But that's one way you can go ahead and recover the skies. I'll have other full photo editing breakdowns for you guys in the future. It's been Mitchell. Peace.